Hi guys, and welcome back to day 2 of Inktober 2017. I, first off, am very sorry that this is going up so late. I have a plan to be able to get these done much earlier and out to you guys. My goal is by 3 each day, hopefully sooner than that, but I think 3 is going to be like the latest that you can expect it, hopefully, if I can follow with my plan. So my plans are to create the sketches and get all the plans done the night before, and then the next day I'm able to do the ink drawing itself and complete it, the execution of it, and then I can turn it into a video and show you guys and get that all uploaded and everything. That is by far the longest segment of creating a piece, is the planning and the sketching and getting all the anatomy correct and just making all these little tiny fixes to it throughout. So I think that being able to execute it first, the piece before, or the piece for that day, and then being able to spend as much time as I need to on the planning for the next day will work much better for me. So hopefully moving forward, you guys will be able to get videos much sooner and you can have a reliable time that it'll be uploaded. But moving on to this one, I actually want to talk a little bit about goals and the things that I would like to learn from this Inktober. So I think that's one of the biggest benefits of doing a consistent challenge like this, one where you have to stay dedicated and do a long process of continuing to stay to it, is that it can give you a chance to force yourself to think about goals and give these certain regulations so that you can improve in very specific ways. I love being able to plan out things that I want to focus on, because there are so many things in my day-to-day illustrations that I want to get better at, and I'm always trying to think of them, but there's just so many that I feel like I'm juggling them and I let some fall by the wayside and I forget about them. So being able to do a project where I can specifically focus on a few set things, that is my goal, that is my intention behind everything, really just makes me feel very empowered and in control with this process. And it feels like this is something that I am building myself as an artist up, and not just creating the illustrations, but like at the end of Inktober, I will feel stronger and better than I did before. So I know that I mentioned this a little bit, but my backstory as far as what I've learned from Inktober, and each time that I've done it, I've learned something. And the first one that I did, which I only got, I believe, 4 illustrations done. And let me just say this, I do not look down on anyone who does not complete Inktober. I struggled so hard with it that first year, and the second year was so incredibly hard to get them done every single day. So I feel you on that one. So that is a huge undertaking even to start Inktober, to think about it, or to even want to do it. So I by no means am looking down on anyone like that, but I did definitely learn a big thing from doing that first Inktober, is that I really wanted to be able to dedicate myself to making it through Inktober. I wanted to get every single day done, because it was frustrating to look back when it was months from that and look at that and see that that was a failure on my part of not being dedicated to this idea. Because before it started, I was so excited about it. I thought it would be amazing. I knew that I loved inks, and I just fell through with it. So the next year, which was last year, I set that as my goal. That was number one priority. It was get an ink illustration done every single day of October, period. I wanted that to be under my belt. I wanted to feel that accomplishment, and I did end up being able to achieve that. And it was so satisfying and exciting, and it did teach me quite a bit about dedication and what it takes to make sure that I draw every day and get things done. And it was this huge learning process. And then I spent a lot of those illustrations trying out so many different things, and it was wonderful for that year. But moving into this year, looking back at last year, there's a new goal that I want to achieve, and I want that to be, I want the subject matter to be something that really speaks to me. So that's one thing that I've actually been really thinking about the last month or so, is that there's a certain type of illustration that I feel very connected with. It's things that have a little hint of something more macabre or emotional, and I love finding a way to balance that with my experiences as well as positive things. And it's just a very specific way of incorporating all these different elements together that when I am able to create an illustration like that, it feels so personal to me and I feel so excited about it. But then there's been so many illustrations in between that where I just create something because I need to create something, and it ends up feeling very disconnected from me and my goals and my artistic direction. It's not taking me from the point that I'm at now to the point that I want to be. It's just kind of veering me off course every little bit. So that is my number one goal this year, is I want to create quality content that is the subject that I want to create. I want to create these things that I can feel strongly for and feel this passion for each illustration because it connects to me personally. And I feel really excited about that. I love that it's something that I am forcing myself to think about it every single day. So again, it's something that I have all these goals that I want in my daily illustration life, but there's so many that I lose track of some and I let things kind of fall off my plate. But this is the number one thing. This is the biggest thing for me, is creating pieces that I'm passionate about. So by forcing myself to think about it and consider it every single day of October, that's 31 days in a row, I believe that at the end it's going to be just habit. I'm not going to start an illustration until I analyze whether it means something to me or not. And if it doesn't, then I need to think about, okay, well, what can I do to make it better? What can I do to make it connect to me more? Let me know in the comments what your goals are, even if it's just something like enjoying the process and having fun and not stressing about getting it done every day, or if it's something like studying anatomy and getting better at that. I'd really love to know what you're focusing on or what your thoughts are as far as setting goals for big projects like these, like challenges and stuff. I love hearing how you think about it and comparing that. That's what I think is so great about Inktober, but also being part of an art community, is being able to look through different people's perspectives and goals and concepts of how they're working, because it gives new insight to my own priorities as well as how I want to move forward with my work and my art and everything. So I am really interested to hear what you guys have to say. And we can talk a little bit about this piece. So as always, I do have a link down in the description to all of the tools that I'm using. The one thing that I get questions the most on is that little green tool that I wave over my wet mediums pretty much all the time. So today I'm using an ink wash, but if you see that, that's just an embossing gun that dries out my water so that it's pretty much instantly dry and I can start using more layers on top of it. It is a huge lifesaver if you hate sitting around waiting for things to dry, especially watercolors. That is one of my go-to tools. But I do have a link in the description to the actual one that I use, as well as everything else again. But this time into Inktober, I decided to get some white gel pens, and I'm actually really loving it. So I have not had very much luck with them in the past, but it clicked this time when I was working with it why it didn't work. So I am very heavy-handed with my pens, and I realized using this this gel pen, wow, I spaced what it was called, this pen, I realized that when you just glide it on, it creates a very nice, opaque, clean line, and it works perfectly. But when I try to like use it like I do a normal pen, where I feel like I need to really make it contact with the paper, it gets a little bit more spotty and it picks up the medium below it and starts jamming it up. So that was instantly this thing where I was just like, oh, it works now. It works the way I want it to. And it is so tiny of a line. I love it because I have other white mediums that I can use to create these kind of elements, but I don't have anything quite as precise and easy to execute. So this is definitely going to be a go-to tool going into these Inktober illustrations, because it was so easy to add more interest to things, to make things pop out more, and to give these really subtle little hints. They're the kind of things that you can't really even see in a video or in the pictures, but in real life, I just am so happy with the effects that I can create with this little white gel pen. So I feel like this is this tool that everyone loved and everyone was using, and I never got it. I'm like, no, I fuss with it so much, it never works for me, but finally it clicked, and I can see why people like it, because it is really pleasant to add these little effects to my paper, or to my paintings, that is. And that is it for today's Inktober. That is day 2 of Inktober 2017. I do post daily Inktober videos, so check back tomorrow. And a few announcements. I do have this painting available at my art shop. There's a link in the description as well as in the end card. And I will be compiling all of my Inktober pieces into a book, and I believe that I'll be launching that on October 10th. So I will be talking a lot more about it in a future video, and I'll let you guys know anything that you need to know and any of the little rewards that I'll be offering. But stay tuned for that if you're interested, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Thanks for watching.